Hi everybody, welcome back to Over the Hedge. Wanted to be doing this last Friday, but had a little bit of a delay because of my stupid hand injury that I talked about in the Spyro LP. So here we are, we're going to do the Martin House heist.
Now then, voila! That's French for our goal, the Martin residence. Now, the good news is, there's no catch at all this time. Bad news is, there is one catch actually. We have to avoid the streets at all costs.
Hey, excuse me, Monsieur, but we were just in the streets last night, remember?
I do remember, Vern. I'm sure we all do. Thus, the new street avoidance part of the plan. Now, let's focus. We'll come from the hedge here and creep unsuspectingly down over into this yard. Find a way past the gate, hereabouts, and out toward the street through that iron gate.
Didn't you just say going in the street was what we didn't want?
Vern, where does it say you can't avoid something by going toward it and crossing it?
The dictionary?
Never heard of it. Then we head through these 2 yards, maybe hop a ride to our destination.
Hop a ride? What ride? I want a ride.
Shh! Don't spoil the surprise, Hamilton. Even I don't know what I'm talking about. We all set? Let's hit the road.
So yeah, every few levels is a new heist of either some poor family's home or of some kind of business or other sort of establishment. And each of them are begun with these little cell phone primers by RJ at the beginning. And yeah, this is sort of the first level proper, which is weird considering, you know, we're already in part 3, but, and not to say that the other levels don't act like the levels in the game, but, like, the first 4 were all the introductory levels that don't really resemble the rest of the game, and then Night Streets and the other one were just kind of simple and straightforward, whereas these, like, they usually have multiple parts, the heists, and just the general rhythm that you will see in the next couple parts of, you know, going in, you know, doing the 1 or 2 parts of getting to and into the house, and then being in the house and getting all the food, and then escaping. So this is the first section of levels that really gets you into that rhythm, and I am getting my fucking ass beat by these gophers. The gophers are extremely annoying. This game loves them, and they're in almost every level after this, if not every level. They are incredibly annoying because they can smack you with these shovels like a billion times, and then they also do that thing where they burrow into the ground, and sometimes they'll burrow and then they'll come back up like 2 feet away, but other times they'll be like on the other side of the fucking map, so it's a little bit annoying, but whatever. And hopefully it won't be too noticeable because I will turn it down in editing, but this game's music is incredibly loud. Like, I wasn't even playing the game on very high volume when I recorded this, and it was still, like, blasting into my ears while I was playing it. Also, I really like the trap that is the dog's asshole that, I don't know if I triggered it or if you saw it, but it sprays out like a sleeping gas or whatever, which is pretty funny. All the different, like, traps, I noted in the last part, as I have in multiple LPs, my taste in games as a kid and just things in general of having a lot of, like, mechanical stuff that looks like it was made by, like, thrown together random objects and things like that, and there's a lot of stuff like that in this game, as I've mentioned. And I mentioned that with regard to a lot of the, just, like, the way you interact with the world in the game, like the weapons and the hats and the just platforming elements, as well as the enemies, like these grills here. But Also, with the traps is something that I don't think as a kid I appreciated how, like, clever some of them are. But anyway, yeah, here we have another one of these flying grills. I don't know if I mentioned it, but these used to terrify me as a kid. They're very intimidating enemies, and if you get hit by one of their little spits of fire, then you, like, can't do anything for, like, a half a minute or something. You just, like, do this little dance around on trying to pat the fire off of your feet, and you do that for about 2 hours, and you can't do anything during that time. You can get hit, of course. You can take more damage. No reason to restrict that. This looks like it should be able to be opened. I don't know why. I mean, I know why. It's not part of the game, but, you know. I really don't understand, like, RJ's whole thing about, like, let's not go in the street, and then you just go in the street. Like, I guess it's just to be funny, but it's very weird. And also, just in general, something that I've never thought about with this game is that, like, it starts with the end of the movie, which is, you know, when they find out, although the game doesn't really spend much time on it at all, but the animals all find out that RJ has been using them to get food for Vincent the bear. And the game doesn't explain it, but if you haven't seen the movie, it's because at the beginning, RJ is trying to steal some food from Vincent's cave and accidentally destroys all of his food. And so he has to get it all back, and so he just, like, recruits these starving woodland creatures to help him get the food on the pretense that they will get it. And then at the end, he, you know, redeems himself by taking the food from Vincent to use to save the animals from the exterminator, and then they escape and Hammy slows down time and all that good stuff. But, like, the rest of this game, I guess it's just the story of them, like, just using their newfound abilities to steal from humans in order to steal not just food, but, like, a bunch of technology. Like, we have a laptop and a projector, or I don't know if... I think we'll get a laptop in this one. I don't think we have it yet. But the laptop is one of the optional loot circle items that that isn't like the object of a heist, but you can get if you want. And I try to get all of those because they show up in the woods in the overworld, and it's neat. And yeah, these bunnies, they take about 4,000 hits. It's nice to use this gun. And then you also have gophers to worry about, and they are annoying for the reasons I mentioned earlier. So this part is just kind of, like, unnecessarily annoying. And yeah, I heard a bunch of all the electrical noises of the enemies getting hit off to the left here, and forgot that there's this entire area. And there's actually a cooler down there as well, but I didn't notice it. It's kind of tucked away. Kind of have to go out of your way, and I thought you could knock that thing over, but you don't. These flamingos will shoot honey at you that makes you move slow. There are a couple things like that in this game where they'll make... I believe it's honey, and it makes you move slow, but my favorite is the flamingos shooting the honey out of their eyes. Just very weird. Like I said, very creative and strange trap of, like, ways to use common garden items to be like deadly or at least maiming traps for small animals. So while this is going on, I made a note in my phone to talk during sometime in this LP about Something that I've mentioned before, probably in one of my SpongeBob LPs or during a stream or something, but I think is worth repeating here, which is the lack of games based on movies nowadays compared to this era of like the early and mid 2000s, and even a little bit after that, but like in the last like half of the decade especially, but most of the 2010s. Especially like children's films, there really aren't all that many like console video games made based on them anymore. And I think it's kind of a bummer, because I mean, not all of them are awesome, obviously. In fact, I guess you could make the argument that most of them are not that great. But I don't know, some of them are cool, and even if they're not perfect games, like I think games like this and the SpongeBob games and like the Ratatouille game all have, you know, stuff that makes them worth playing, and that, you know, they're not just dog shit throwaway games with no effort behind them. So yeah, I don't know. I think the reason for it might be like mobile games, because that seems to be the main, specifically for kids shows or kids movies that might have games based on them. I feel like, you know, that's, if you want to capture that market now, that's sort of how you do it, is with the mobile games. Because, I mean, I don't know, do kids, like, play console games all that much anymore? I mean, I know that a lot of kids play PC games, because I know a bunch of kids play Fortnite and Minecraft and all that shit. But I don't know. But I'm trying to think of, like, movies from the 2010s that I think could have had good video games made of them. I mean, I know that they're making, like, I think Telltale is making an Avengers game. I think you could easily have made, like, major console games of almost every Marvel movie and just made it like a regular sort of action-adventure or action role-playing game. And I think they would all have been really successful, but I think it might just be like a budget to return on investment sort of concern, is that I imagine it takes a lot more like time and money and manpower to make a complete console game like this, even one, you know, even a licensed game based on a movie, which as far as video games go are known for being like kind of lower budget and production value. And, you know, I don't think anyone has, like, super high expectations of them, although maybe games like Battle for Bikini Bottom and stuff, maybe they did, you know, they've made people have higher expectations for them, and yeah, Hammy makes you wait for a million years to get over there. A little bit strange. And here's Rufus, he's the one who releases the laptop for you. Rufus is not in the movie, by the way. Which is why he sucks and doesn't matter, and yeah, he's just there to, you know, pick up stuff for you and make weird wisecrack jokes. I don't know. I guess they needed a bird character to do the loot circle thing, because that's the only way that really makes sense. It is strange in this game how, like, when you watch the cutscenes during these levels, all of the characters are there, so, like, the idea is that the entire party is involved with this effort, but you're just playing the two main characters who are, like, on the front line, but they're all, like, there with you, and it's just weird. I mean, I get why they didn't, but it's just funny that you just don't see anyone else anywhere. And, I mean, you talk to the other characters, like you saw, I mean, obviously, like, Rufus was right there, but on those little, like, messenger things at the beginning of each section, like we were talking to Lou a minute ago, and at the beginning of the last one we were talking to Ozzy, I always thought that was supposed to be, like, over the phone or something, but it may just be that they're standing there right next to you. But then there are other times where they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta go, so it sounds like they're texting you or calling you or something. I don't know. I have no idea how that's supposed to work. And speeding up here because takes more than 0 seconds to walk over to this other cooler. That was me making sure I completed all the secondary objectives so that I can get on the RC plane and we can finish up the level. Sorry that I haven't had a whole lot of interest to talk about with these levels. This is sort of just normal kind of house heist stuff that you're gonna see a bunch of times. The next set of levels after the Martin saga is a little bit more interesting.
I'm no raccoon, but isn't this thing a little loud in the element of surprise department?
Vern, it's our landing that's got to be covert.
Nice landing.
Graphics actually look pretty decent there. When it's actually in gameplay, it looks about as low res and whatever as any other licensed game, but in those pre-rendered cutscenes in the right light, sometimes the textures and everything, they look kind of nice. Not realistic, but nice for 06.
Lasers. Humans are crazy. How do they walk around their own houses with all these traps?
That's what I was saying. Hammy, I see where they're coming from. Hammy is sometimes very funny in this game. Also, I was going to say in the last video, I realized when I was watching it that I did the thing that I always do because I'm an amazing YouTube game commentator where I just completely forget the main point of a sentence that I start saying. And that was the main reason why I like playing as Vern. I mentioned that I like him because he's green, and I just like green, and he's a turtle. So that's like the aesthetic reason I like playing as him. But the other reason is because I like his snarky dialogue the best, because RJ is fine, but he is like, I don't know, you already get enough of his like cadence and way of speaking in a lot of the cutscenes, and I just find him kind of annoying after a while. I don't really love him in the movie either. I don't know how to describe the way he talks. It's like he's just like mischievous planning man, but he doesn't really know what he's talking about, and I don't know. Yeah, you've heard him, you know probably what I mean, but so yeah, I get kind of tired of that after a while. Hammy can be really annoying, and just, sometimes the jokes that he says are basically just like, oh, cookie, but my butthole, or whatever, but sometimes he says some actually funny things. And then, Stella, the skunk, is fine, but not really funny, and they don't really know what to do with her, and she's just like the umpteenth animated Madagascar movie character who's just like sassy woman, and so every level you're just like, I'm gonna whoop some rat butt or whatever, and I don't know. So what am like 50% of the characters just get kind of annoying after a while, whereas Vern and Hammy, I don't know, their likable and funny dialogue usually outweighs their less funny ones. And these motion sensors are annoying as fuck. And I really should have just gone into this room and shut them off before trying to fight all these rats, but I didn't think to do that. For some reason I thought you had to defeat all the rats before you could come in the laundry room, but whatever. Oh yeah, apparently I made one go off. I've said before that, like, with the secondary objectives that are like, don't trigger a sensor or a laser or whatever, if your partner does it, then it's fine. But if you do it, that means that you lose it. But I don't remember ever making it set off, but I was probably, like, stepping on it the second that Hammy was also stepping on one, and so at the end it says that I failed to not. It would have said objective complete, don't set off a single motion sensor here, so I didn't do that.
Speakerphone! Where is the speakerphone? How do you...
Move it!
That'll work.
I like how, and then sometimes you have those kinds of cutscenes where they don't even bother to animate the fucking mouths. Pretty great. I thought you could like, destroy that rat trap. I'm sure you can, but I I didn't do it, whatever. So yeah, now we're gonna do one of a few versions of getting all of the food into the wagon. You saw one in the first part where you're throwing it to Penny and Lou in the kitchen. Now you're just tossing it from the bedroom? I don't really know how that makes sense, but those are definitely the bedrooms. It's not the kitchen, I know that. On the second floor, but whatever. I guess it doesn't have to make a whole bunch of sense. And yeah, Hammy... I mean, it's not a Hammy thing, it's just the fucking AI for the partner will not make any effort to actually catch any of these, unless, of course, you're trying to catch one, in which case he will be right there to actually catch it. Even if it's one that you don't need, which just makes everything go a lot slower, and it's pretty much just up to you, because, yeah, as you can see, Hammy is not really interested in doing anything. I say as he loads the last two things of food by himself. But there you have it, didn't get all the objectives, but... Anyway, now we're on to the next phase of this thing, but don't really have time for that, because this next part is a little bit long and involved. So next time we'll be doing the Martin Heist escape, and then we'll be going into the cool shooting gallery levels. That's cool. So I'll see you then for that.